It's a lovely good evening and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. To present, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight. RPP leader labels PF Vice President corrupt as given LUBINDA hits back. Street children demean government's empowerment approach. Small-scale miners demand audience with President Hichilema. In international news, Brazil surpasses 600,000 COVID-19 deaths. And in sports news, Copper Queens scoop third place in COSAFA.
Are you a small to medium enterprise looking to advertise your products and services within your community and across Zambia? In these economic times, we are here to help you grow your business. Advertise with us on Camnet Market. Camnet Market is offering lower rates for prime time advertising between 06 to 18 hours every day to give your business an edge under the new normal and beyond. For more details, contact us on the following numbers: 097 975 3010 or 096 296 5883, as well as 096 244 726. You can also reach us via email on info@camnettvafrica.com. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
And now the news in detail. Street youngsters in Lusaka have called on the government and well wishers to consider providing a suitable place where they can be relocated to. Some street youngsters who were spoken to have narrated that many of their colleagues have joined them on the street following the death of Fountain of Hope founder Roger Smwewa, who they have described as their guardian angel. Others have explained that they were once recruited for skills training by the Zambia National Service, ZNS, but that they have opted to come back on the streets because government has failed to provide them with resources to put the skills to good use. Details in the following report.
The Lusaka Postal Service has been a shelter for many street children for several years.
We are here at the post office in Lusaka, which is a home to most of the street kids that we see around the city. What I'm holding in my hand is a substance called chenke, which most of the kids smoke when going to bed because they do not have any blankets to cover themselves or prevent them from the cold. For several years, street kids have been labeled names such as criminals, drunkards, thieves, junks, and abusers of substances, but no one really understands what these kids go through. This is why we took time to speak to some of the kids to understand how they found themselves on the streets.
circumstances of selfishness of government. Their fellows governmentally, leadership, they are there because of their children. Okay, we can see their biologicality, even us at the post, our biological parents, they are supremacists. But at the end of the day, we find ourselves no life, we're sleeping outside. But when you see our fellows, friends, their brothers and fellows, they're at school. Others not doing we had 6 points at school.
Others have told this reporter that they were once recruited by the Zambia National Service for Skills Development and were at the end of the training empowered with equipment to use in their next endeavors. However, the children were not financially supported, which has seen them come back on the streets.
After that, I was promised that when we graduate, we're going to have materials and to be settled in the capitals and the material. Don't stop on move, but not that watch. That was my president was here for one hours. In the Gasarubano, I'm a two-story program in Lusaka. All the way from Sparta to some program in Lusaka.
While the street children have been labeled as criminals by society, the children have shown willingness to change provided support is available. They have since appealed to government and well-wishers to look into their affairs.
Not I'm a left, but I'm a last of pass. You three power not Sakamana of place it so
Bostiki, vote pepera, the talk at the Pia Fimana, Ida Pusha of Footin, Sada Fiakudia, Utrafano, Fuera School, the talk at Tavak School.
And while the new Dawn administration has promised to develop the country without leaving anyone behind, one would ask what plans the government has for street children. This reporter was, however, not able to get a comment from the new Minister of Youth, Sports and Art, Elvis Nkando, by broadcast time. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Small-scale miners on the Copper Belt are seeking audience with Republican President Hakainde Hichilema in order to have their grievances heard. Speaking at a media briefing Saturday, Small-Scale Miners Association Chairman Kelvin Tembo says while small-scale miners have been criticized for being the only ones benefiting from the sector, mining remained their own source of income and cannot be relinquished. Mr. Tembo says small-scale miners should be respected like any other profession or sector as their contribution to the growth of the economy cannot be ignored. We have more in the following report.
For many years now, small-scale mining has been the #1 source of livelihood for some families on the Copper Belt. The decision by the government to hunt all forms of small-scale mining is now affecting those whose survival depends on it. This is the more reason why the Small-Scale Miners Association of Zambia is now seeking audience with Zambia's Republican President Hakainde Hichilema to have their voices over the matter be heard. Association Chairperson Kelvin Tembo, who spoke on behalf of others at a briefing held on Saturday, says the contribution of the small-scale mining activities to the development of the economy cannot be ignored.
Where we can have a number of dump sites. I'll tell you one thing for a fact. Here in Quito we've got, I think, about 5 dump sites. But most of them are idle. You go there, you'll be told, no, the owner of this dump site is in Australia. You go there, you are told, the owner of this dump site is in the UK. Now, here is a poor Zambian who just sits and walks past this thing which does contain money which can change that person's life. Where is the fairness? The fairness is not there. What we are saying is that in the future we are looking at a situation where we as the Zambians can own these dump sites.
Mr. Tembo adds that the use of the name Jerabos in trying to describe the small-scale miners should come to an end as it labels them to be bad people.
Even when you report, I think the tag of Jerabos should not be attached to our caption in any given chance. We are called small-scale miners. So just as we respect you, we'll call you journalists, we'll call you a media house. That is the respect that you deserve. We are not going to call you Abamulong. I don't think you'd be happy about it because, I mean, the tag is very bad. But if you give us a tag that is befitting what we are doing, if you look around the city, you see how our people do behave, you see that there's a lot of change.
And Mr. Tembo adds that small-scale mining is a profession like any other and should be respected.
We are not disobedient people. We are not people that have always tagged to be thugs. But we are parents, we are guardians, we are uncles, we are sisters to a lot of you people out there. We have got people that have got families that, if you look at, you don't even attach them to that tag. So we want you to look at us like people that are doing like any other profession, accountancy, the people that are doing law, the people that are doing economics.
While most of the country's mining sector is dominated by foreign investors, the resources from the sector do not remain in the country. Allowing small-scale miners take part in the mining activities of the country remain one of the ways of allowing resources from the mining sector be engineered into the economy, hence the need to support small-scale miners. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Zitukule Consortium Executive Director Nicholas Piri has called for the reformation of the Youth Empowerment Fund to ensure that the resources serve the intended purpose. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Piri has expressed disappointment at the revelation in the Auditor General's report for the financial year that ended 31st December 2020, which has shown that over 80 million kwacha youth empowerment funds from 2012 to 2020 has not been paid back. Mr. Piri says such kind of behavior has been hindering other youths from benefiting from the initiative. He adds that if changes are not made, solving the problem of mass youth unemployment will be difficult for the new administration.
We need to take a reflection and stock of what we have done in the past, learn from what has not worked well, and learn from what has worked well, and come up with a very suitable model that is going to propel youth empowerment, and that is going to ensure that youth empowerment is meaningful. And in so doing, we hope that this government is going to bring on board the youth also in designing those programs. So the programs are relevant and they speak to the needs of the youth. I must hasten to mention that the UPND government was largely elected into office by the youth of Zambia. And this youth group is really impatient and they are in a hurry to see their well-being being attended to. And so if the youth empowerment programs are not well managed, if it is to be the continuation of what we have seen in the past, the government risks setting itself up against the youth. And so we can only appeal that the Ministry of Youth and Child Development can look into this issue of youth empowerment by way of doing a review, taking stock of what has worked and what has not worked, and come up with a program that is blind to parties and interests, but one that is going to target every and each youth as long as they are eligible to get a sort of empowerment that is available.
Republican Progressive Party RPP leader Leslie Chikose has alleged that Patriotic Front Vice President Given Lubinda is corrupt for trying to buy a public property. Mr. Chikose, who was speaking shortly after inspecting Kawata Skills Center in Tokyo Way, Lusaka, accused Mr. Lubinda of trying to grab a play park, which is a community property, for personal gains. The party president has since demanded for the play park to be given back to the community as it will enhance social and economic development. Meanwhile, the opposition Patriotic Front Vice President Given Lubinda has refuted the allegations and claims Mr. Chikose is trying to make himself relevant by using his name. We have more in the following report.
There is more than sufficient practical evidence to show that countries with high level of corruption perform poorly economically on almost all economic indicators. They have lower GDP, low tax collection, high debt levels, and high income inequalities. Republican Progressive Party leader has allegedly charged that Patriotic Front Vice President Given Lubinda is corrupt. This is in a case where Mr. Chikose accused Mr. Lubinda of trying to grab a community property in form of a play park.
Isn't that corruption? If it's not corruption, what is corruption? Because how is the money that is paid by those churches, how is it accounted? It's benefiting an individual. Who is Lubinda? So when this Lubinda is saying he is writing letters to well-wishers who are talking about fight about corruption in Zambia, the likes of President of the United States, when they say there is corruption, it's Lubinda who is corrupt. Yes.
He has since demanded for the play park to be given back to the community as it will enhance social and economic development.
Nothing to be scared of. This place is just for the community. You can start you start playing football, you start jogging. You want to do gym, you do a gym just here. It's your place. Okay? It's not Lubinda's place. This is your place. So
We are starting with this, but I think that we may need to try to check ludic looters.
Meanwhile, the Opposition Patriotic Front Vice President, Given Lubinda, has refuted the allegations and claims that Mr. Chikuse is trying to make himself relevant by using his name.
Tell him that his struggle to become relevant by using my name and dragging my name in the mud will soon make him meet the Waterloo.
Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The United Prosperous and Peaceful Zambia UPPZ has called for regular inspections of police operations in the country in order to actualize President Hakainde Hichilema's call on the need for the service to operate professionally. In an interview with Camnet News, UPPZ Secretary General Kondwelani Sakala says the police service has been known for unprofessionalism. He notes that laws such as those which state that a suspect is innocent until proven guilty have often been abrogated, as suspects have time and again been treated like convicts and kept in police cells longer than is required. We have more in this report.
The important role that the police service of any country plays cannot be overemphasized, as this service is central to maintaining peace, upholding the rule of law, and curbing crime, among other functions. Zambia by 2030 hopes to have achieved a peaceful society for all, coupled with providing justice, as well as building effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. One of the key drivers to achieving this goal are the country's security wings, such as the police service. 2021 World Police Rankings, however, placed the Zambian police service among the worst performing globally. President Hakainde Hichilema, after winning the 12th August 2021 general elections, announced the need for professionalism to be restored to this service, emphasizing on the need for them to work independently if they are to be efficient. The United, Prosperous and Peaceful Zambia UPPZ feel that apart from allowing the police to operate independently, there is need to conduct regular inspections to ensure that professionalism is restored in all areas of police operations. UPPZ Secretary General Mr. Kondwelani Sakala was speaking to Camnet News.
I'm calling upon the IG and all the commissioners and every other police service. Let's up our game. Let's push the agenda of the new dawn to see that professionalism and law abiding as the police service, we carry it professionally. We shouldn't expect, we don't, as I for one, as UPPZ, we expect by now the IG himself inspecting all his police, forces to make sure that they carry out the professionalism expected by the current government, and the cases are being fastened according to the expectations.
Mr. Sakala adds that there is need for this service to be completely transformed to ensure that it operates within the confines of the law.
People should not be held in custody if they are not investigated. People should not be held there for more than 48 hours. Those bondable cases, those people should be given bond.
He has expressed hope that the president's call for professionalism will lead to a change of trends in the country. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The New Heritage Party has opposed the placing of the Anti-Corruption Commission, SEC, under the office of the President, saying such would threaten the survival of the investigative body. Speaking through the media, Party Vice President Samuel Kasanka has questioned the independence of the institution if it is to be answerable to the President. Mr. Kasanka says investigative bodies should operate freely in executing their duties. He has since called on government to rescind its decision immediately and provide clarity over the issue, as it poses a great danger to freedom of the said institution.
But we also seem to be very confident that there is a gazette notice which is putting SEC under the office of the President. I think first and foremost it's important that government comes out very clean and tells us exactly what they are doing. Otherwise, we as New Heritage Party, we are completely opposed to placing the SEC under the office of the President. If it is meant to take place, let the government rescind it immediately. Let the SEC and all other investigative bodies operate the way they've done in the past. If anything, let their powers be enhanced. Let them be given all that they need to be able to operate autonomously and investigate and even prosecute anybody without exception who happens to be involved in any malpractices.
People's Convention Independence Party President Dr. Charles Sinkala says there is nothing wrong with the Zambian government seeking financing from the international community, such as the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, among others. Mr. Sinkala, however, says the question that one would ask is how the government intends to spend the resources, adding that what has been prevailing in the past years with regards to borrowed resources is very unacceptable. Dr. Sinkala says borrowing for consumption has remained the country's biggest mistake, as every borrowed resources will need to be paid back within a given time frame. He says investing in the agricultural sector remains the only way the country can pay back the resources on time without having to stress the development of other sectors.
You know, one thing that the government must realize, you know, and the other governments has failed to realize, that when you borrow money, you need to pay back. You know, that is not a charity donation like the way you donate in church, and the church has got no obligation to pay you back that money, but the money has to be paid back in terms of loans. And you know, borrowing for consumption has been a problem in Zambia. You can't borrow to pay salaries. You can't borrow to build a road or maintain the road. You know, how are you going to pay back the money? That's a question that many heads of states has failed to answer. You know, borrowing should only be best on investment. And I think the only way Zambia can generate money very quickly, you know, is through the investment into agriculture. I can't think of anything other than agriculture that can return the money very quickly within a short period of time.
Minister of Water Development and Sanitation, Mike Mposha, says the assurance by President Hakainde Hichilema that government will increase the budgetary allocation to the water and sanitation sector, as well as the Constituency Development Fund, will see the country attain the 2030 agenda of providing clean and safe water to all citizens across the country. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, the minister says the UPND government will remain focused at ensuring that all parts of the country have water and good sanitation. We have more in the following report.
According to the 2018 Demographic and Health Survey, 64% of the Zambian population use basic drinking water services, in which 87% being from urban areas, while 49% in the rural areas. The need for a sustained access to safe water and adequate sanitation is crucial, as indicated in government's 7th National Development Plan, Vision 2030, and the Sustainable Development Goals. Minister of Water Development and Sanitation, Mike Mposha, has told Camnet TV Friday evening that the UPND government will remain focused to ensure that all parts of the country have water and good sanitation. He says this after attending the Living Water International fundraising event, where he has pledged support to all stakeholders in achieving this common goal.
Look, this problem of water cannot be resolved within the shortest possible time. But what is important is that we have the focus to ensure that the demand at some point is met. You know, the population keeps on growing, and as it grows, it brings with it many challenges. But our focus is to ensure that once we switch on the Kafue Baok water project, we'll be able to increase the supply by 50,000 cubic meters of water per day. That will help us to sort out mainly the northwestern region of Lusaka in terms of supply. But we are hoping that in the near future, we'll be able to expand the plant so that we go towards the 400,000 plus cubic meters demand per day.
Mr. Mposha adds that the UPND administration is committed to this call, as evidenced by the President's assurance to increasing the budgetary allocation to this sector and increase the constituency development fund to facilitate achieving safe water and sanitation agenda.
Increase, the budgetary allocation to our budget in the 2022. Not only increasing the budget, but ensuring that we have timely disbursement to the ministries or to the sector. So as a water sector, we are pleased that there's that kind of commitment, but also we are looking forward in the new budget that the Constituency Development Fund, there's been an assurance by the President that the Constituency Development Fund will be increased. And we hope that as a ministry, as we go towards addressing these challenges, the individual constituencies can also factor in the component of water supply using the Constituency Development Fund.
Meanwhile, during the fundraising program in Lusaka, Living Water International Regional Vice President Dr. Zephaniah Maziakapita reviewed a total number of 900,100 people to benefit from its WASH implementation program in both Muyembe community and Zambezi village.
Zambia, at the beginning, we were just going everywhere, trying to put water everywhere. But now we started saying, okay, can we focus? Can we try to do it differently? So we started what we call water program areas. And these WASH program areas that we have, we would like, by the time we leave that community, 85% of the people, minimum, have clean water. Understand sanitation issues. For example, in Chirundu, I think many of you know, people along the Zambezi River, many are eaten by crocodiles. And you have to try and make sure you protect the people that side by giving them good water so that they don't go to the Zambezi River to draw water by themselves. Honorable Minister, I just want to finish by saying we are very willing to work with your department. We are under you. We want to say that very clearly. And we are willing to work with you wherever possible.
In the year 2010, the United Nations General Assembly recognized water and sanitation as a human right, implying that across the world, everyone has the right to safe water for personal and domestic use, regardless who and where they are. Hoping that this will be a reality for the Zambian people. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Lusaka Deputy Mayor Katie Nanyangwe has expressed disappointment over the lack of proper sanitation at North Mid Market in the district. Speaking during the cleaning exercise of the market Saturday morning, Ms. Nanyangwe says it is disheartening to note how marketeers in the area have failed to keep their trading places clean. The Deputy Mayor, who is also Silvisia Ward Councillor, has since resolved that marketers should every Saturday morning dedicate an hour of their time to cleaning the trading place. She is in the meantime urged all marketers to take part in the cleaning exercise, stating that markets are meant to be kept clean and healthy, as they are places where people source their food, among other things. More in this report.
So tinabauza at material iliko. Where's director housing?
He's here.
Material.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Would you like to win some cool cash? Say no more. Stand a chance to win your share of 1 million kwacha. Simply make a transaction from your Zamtel mobile money account and you could be one of weekly winners of up to 10,000 kwacha. Be empowered with Zamtel mobile money. Dial *344# to activate your account. This promotion runs from 28th July to 31st October 2021. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
At Savenda Express Printing, we have the capacity to deliver quality in all kinds of printing services timely. Our lines of production include screen printing, embroidery, lithography, and large format printing. We take pride in delivering quality work at very competitive rates with our in-house, highly experienced and qualified designers. With the ability to print full color and embossing prints, our state-of-the-art screen printing machines are able to print 1,000 pieces per hour. Our embroidery machines are able to print any logo with 1 or up to 12 colors all at once and has an output capacity of 100 pieces per hour. Savenda Express Printing also does large format printing for billboards, banners, vinyl, car stickers, posters, tire covers, cups, pens, bags, flasks, packaging boxes, and well, just anything that can need printing. For inquiries, give us a call on 0960 344 471.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Are you a small to medium enterprise looking to advertise your products and services within your community and across Zambia? In these economic times, we are here to help you grow your business. Advertise with us on Camnet Market. Camnet Market is offering lower rates for prime time advertising between 06 to 18 hours every day to give your business an edge under the new normal and beyond. For more details, contact us on the following numbers: 097 975 3010 or 096 296 5883, as well as 096 244 726. You can also reach us via email on info@camnettvafrica.com. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
You're watching Camnet TV and not just another channel. We continue with the news. A pharmaceutical expert, Jerome Kanyika, has appealed to the Republican President Hakainde Hichilema to consider making the COVID-19 vaccination process mandatory. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Kanyika says government should change the approach given in addressing the COVID-19 pandemic in the country if Zambia is to win the fight against the pandemic and achieve the 70% target of vaccination by December 2021. We have more in the following report.
On the 7th of October 2021, Republican President Hakainde Hichilema revised upwards the COVID-19 vaccination target from 30% to 70% by December 2021 in order to protect citizens from the COVID-19 pandemic and overall safeguard the local economy, of which records show that out of 8.4 million people targeted to be vaccinated against COVID-19, only 3.8% have been immunized. With this development, a pharmaceutical expert has appealed to the Republican President Hakainde Hichilema to consider making the COVID-19 vaccination process mandatory.
Everyone to be vaccinated, because this opening up of lifting or removing Zambia from the red zone, it means that we are going to have a lot of tourists or a lot of people coming to Zambia. That itself tells you to say we are likely to receive other variants of the viruses from other people. No wonder the issue of us getting vaccinated is very, very important, and we need to see, or it is possible, we need to make vaccination of the Zambian people to be mandatory, especially the frontliners. You, the journalists, the health workers, the teachers, the pastors, the police officers, all these are frontliner workers, and they need to be vaccinated at all time to get the protection and to reduce the severity of the condition once someone gets come into contact with the virus.
He adds that government needs to change the approach given to the response to COVID-19 in the country.
Appeal, if I can make my appeal now, is my appeal is to the president to change the approach in which we are doing the issues of COVID. Let him declare mandatory vaccination for all the civil servants and other people, so that before you go to work, you need to show your vaccination certificate. If we continue talking about voluntarily, I think it will not achieve. And you know very well that COVID has shown us how capable it is in upsetting the economic status of any country.
The relaunch of the vaccination campaign is expected to serve a catch-up campaign and get the country one step closer to its new target. Blessings Shakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Party Hypertension Foundation, an organization working to raise awareness on hypertension and a healthy lifestyle, has noted the need to heighten awareness on hypertension, commonly known as high blood pressure, amongst the people in communities. The foundation's co-founder, Patricia Sakala, says this is because of the high levels of ignorance and misconception surrounding the condition. Mrs. Sinkala has spoke during a community outreach on raising awareness on hypertension with women of Lusaka's Mandevu constituency, and says many people with hypertension condition stop taking medication without the doctor's advice once the condition stabilizes. She says contrary to people's misconceptions, hypertension is curable, but that its complications are responsible for a lot of sudden natural deaths in communities as citizens do not follow medical advice.
And we have to freely talk about BP and address this in a serious manner. We've realized that there are so many myths and misconceptions that surround this condition. And this is what we are trying to bring in our cycle, to try and sensitize the people, bring awareness, and make them understand. I know it's just like they know about malaria and other ailments. And draw their attention and to try and make them open up and help us know where to start from, and even where there is a weakest link.
Zambia National Commission for UNESCO Secretary General Dr. Charles Ndakala says journalists should guard against misinformation of important information such as the electoral process. Speaking during the official opening of a two-day workshop for journalists on election reporting, professionalism and ethics in Kabwe, Dr. Ndakala says right presentation of information is important as it influences the decisions by members of the public, hence the need to ensure that they report based on facts. Dr. Ndakala has since implored participants of the workshop to put into practice the various lessons that will be imparted in them. Meanwhile, government says line ministries have prioritized 3 areas in its media development agenda, namely access to information, media self-regulation, and editorial independence.
You may further wish to note that the process of establishing a statutory media, a self-regulatory mechanism, has reached an advanced stage. Government wishes to commend the media fraternity for coming together to establish a legal framework for self-regulation. Government stands ready to support the process to its logical conclusion. Ladies and gentlemen, another area of priority for government in its media agenda is the need for editorial independence of the media.
Because what you write or what you say, others will take it as gospel truth. So it is very important before you say anything or write anything to think through what you are writing. If I write this, is it in the interest of the media? Is it in the interest of the nation? This is why it is important as media houses or media personnel to be very...
I also add that we appreciate you, my fellow journalists, for the sacrifices you have made, the effort, and in particular your presence here, because you are the reason this activity is taking place today and the next day.
Northwestern Provincial Agricultural Coordinator in the Ministry of Agriculture, Muyobo Shimabale, has challenged his staff in the province to adequately prepare themselves and help farmers change their mindset so that they can be more aware of the effects of climate change as they work towards increasing agricultural production capacity in the province. Speaking when he closed a 3-day midterm training workshop for the first batch of the Ministry of Agriculture staff from Kalumbila, Mr. Shimabale further says farmers should strive to extend their production capacity beyond the farming season through the use of irrigated agricultural farming technologies. And Provincial Irrigation Engineer, who is also a COBSI project coordinator, Jackson Walia, has appealed to the participants to take soil improvement seriously through bokashi compost utilization. Details are in this report by Krivet Chituta of Nais.
We have concluded a mid-term training workshop under the expansion of community-based smallholder irrigation ECOPS development project. The workshop is aimed at training the staff and reviewing the progress of the ECOPS activities being implemented in the province. As part of the training, bokashi compost making is one of the new farming techniques these agricultural officers practiced during the workshop held at Chafukuma Farmer Training Institute in Sorowezi.
We have been trained on how to make compost, different types of compost. And we have seen that this type of different compost, they take different periods. But we have now discovered bokashi compost to be the best compost because it ripens faster. It just takes 2 to 3 weeks. This compost, it will be ready.
Participants from the districts are also confident to continue implementing the ECOPS activities.
Nutrition is very important to farmers so that they will keep healthy as well as energetic to do their jobs. The gardening part of it, it needs people who are healthy. When they eat good and quality nutritious foods, then they'll be healthy to do whatever they want to do.
We just owe it to JICA for bringing up this program as TSB, where we are tasked, and according to what we've learned and our experience, this is really going to help our farmers, because you know this issue of farmers irrigating their gardens using buckets, it's really been tiresome and not being profitable for years.
I expect my farmers in my camp to increase their yields if they are going to follow what we are going to teach them as well from what we have learned here.
Northwestern Provincial Agriculture Coordinator Muyobo Shimabale closed the workshop for the first batch with a call for serious implementation of the program.
We are entering now a period of rain-fed agriculture, or what we call the rain season. Let us support our farmers accordingly. Let us continue to change their mindset, change in accordance with the changing times, climate change issues and so on, so that they work towards extending their production capacity and activities beyond the rain season.
Jackson Walia is the Provincial Irrigation Engineer and ECOPS Project Coordinator.
Our objective is the same. Farmers increase their production and productivity, of course. As they do that, they increase their incomes. When they increase their incomes, there will be food to secure.
Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, through its ECOPS development project, is being implemented in partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture. Krivach Tuta, reporting in Sorowezi District, Northwestern Province.
This is Camnet News. We take a break. We'll be back with international and foreign news.
In our quest to save nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Are you a small to medium enterprise looking to advertise your products and services within your community and across Zambia? In these economic times, we are here to help you grow your business. Advertise with us on Camnet Market. Camnet Market is offering lower rates for prime time advertising between 06 to 18 hours every day to give your business an edge under the new normal and beyond. For more details, contact us on the following numbers: 097 975 3010 or 096 296 5883, as well as 096 244 726. You can also reach us via email on info@camnettvafrica.com. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. And in international news, the official number of lives lost to COVID-19 in Brazil has passed 600,000. The country's death toll is second only to the United States. A parliamentary inquiry is concluding its 6-month investigation into the Brazilian government's handling of the pandemic. It has lifted the lead on alleged corruption linked to vaccines. And in other foreign news, Afghanistan is facing the economic crisis that is plunging millions of people into poverty, and order closures are worsening its economic outlook. The Taliban is short of cash and has called on the international community for assistance. Here's a roundup of international news.
It took hours to set the scene on this gray Friday morning. Despite the rain, volunteers spread clotheslines on the sands of Rio de Janeiro's iconic Copacabana beach and hung white handkerchiefs one by one, 600 in all, representing the 600,000 Brazilians killed by COVID-19.
Brazil has the world's second largest COVID-19 death toll. Who is responsible for this tragedy? The answer is President Bolsonaro. He showed no empathy towards the victims, scoffed at the masks, delayed the vaccines and disrespected social distancing measures while holding rallies against Brazil's democratic institutions.
Taxi driver Márcio Antônio was among the Rio de Paz volunteers. He joined the team last year after watching other NGO members plant crosses on Copacabana Beach, a tribute to the first 40,000 dead. Among them, Márcio's own son Bruno, who had died at age 25 a few months before.
These 600,000 deaths caused a lot of sadness. When I lost my son, there were some 7,500 dead from COVID-19, and it was already an incredible landmark. One person is an incredible landmark. Since then, it seems that the awareness of those who should have been taking care of us has not changed at all.
The ceremony was interrupted back then by a Bolsonaro supporter who started tearing down the crosses, saying the media was exaggerating the severity of a disease, which the president had called a little flu. Márcio rushed after him and picked them all up. This time, he'll also play a part. He'll carry the box with the handkerchiefs to the capital, Brasilia, and hand it over to members of the parliamentary inquiry who've been investigating the government's handling of the pandemic. It's due to conclude on October 19. And Márcio, like much of Brazil, has been watching the probe every day on TV.
Já começando pelo meu lado pessoal, I think this parliamentary inquiry is fundamental for the country and for those who have lost dear ones and need to know why. The president's still in denial, but for the first time I feel backed by an institution investigating what led to this tragedy. The probe has showed us that it wasn't just ideology or politics that kept the government from buying vaccines sooner. It unveiled corruption scandals, proving this was also about some people making a lot of money.
Marcio's son died young at the beginning of the pandemic. He says everything possible was done to save him. But he also lost a cousin who worked as a nurse in a crowded hospital, and his 54-year-old sister. Had the government started mass vaccination earlier, Marcio says, she would have had her 2 doses. She died having none, and Marcio blames the government.
This is the Friendship Bridge, Afghanistan's link with Uzbekistan, a crucial lifeline for international aid and trade. Taliban and Uzbek officers guard the crossing, but traffic is slow. The cargo train service that's used to carry over food supplies and commodities has become irregular. The Taliban's customs officer at the Hayratam border crossing dismisses international concerns about Afghanistan's future.
We want the world to be more confident about doing business with us. They have to see the level of safety and security. The former regime wasn't able to secure the presidential compound. Today, all of Afghanistan is safe.
The Taliban is beefing up its presence on the border and promising a crackdown on corruption to ensure smooth movement of people and goods. Afghanistan has always struggled to build a modern rail network that would link the country to its neighbors and expand trade with Central Asia. Exports and imports have dramatically declined in recent weeks as the international community wants the Taliban to implement political reforms, form an inclusive government, or face isolation. Hundreds of lorry drivers are stuck at the border waiting for clearance to cross into Uzbekistan.
Business is bad. Traffic along this area was never interrupted. Now it has been slowed by half, and I cannot bring the same amount of goods into the country.
The fallout from international isolation is felt across the country. Mufid Group is one of the biggest names in the agriculture industry in Afghanistan. The company extracts oil from seeds, a thriving business that also extends to animal feed. But the company has recently lost 70% of its revenues. Managers fear they might have to shut down the company.
We don't have cash in our banks and we cannot getting our payment from them. And the second problem is the closing of the border surrounding us. So we cannot get our raw material on time.
With no solutions now in sight to the cash shortage and economic crisis, life for millions across Afghanistan appears to be getting a lot worse.
It's now time for sports news. And in sports news, Copper Queens have scooped 3rd place at the COSAFA tournament, having started this year's campaign with 5-0, a win against Eswatini at Madiba's Stadium, and also winning Namibia by 3-0. Zambia have won 3rd place in the ongoing 2022 tournament after beating South Africa in a penalty match-out by 4-3. Copper Queens defender Lushomo Mwemba has been awarded Player of the Match after her outstanding performance in the 2021 COSAFA Women's Championship. The Zambian goalkeeper Catherine Musonda, on the other hand, was the star for the country in the tournament as she saved 2 penalties in the 4-3 penalty shootout win in the playoff triumph against South Africa. To end the news, we take a look at stories making headlines once again. RPP leader labels PF Vice President corrupt as given LUBINDA hits back. Street children demean government empowerment approach. Small-scale miners demand audience with President Hichilema. And in international news, Brazil surpasses 600,000 COVID-19 deaths. And in sports news, Copper Queens scoop 3rd place in COSAFA. We now look at the Camnet World Verse for the day, and it's coming from John 15, verse 7, and it reads, If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you want and it will be done for you. Thanks for watching Camnet TV Main News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.